What's going on, guys? I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. If you're a returning subscriber, as always, guys, welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Guys, I'm trying to catch up with stories that I missed when I had the power outage out here in Houston. And this one right here is very hard to talk about. You see this little boy up here? His name was Noah Bush. He's 8 years old. He's no longer here with us because he was found in a pit, a barrel pit, which I'll explain later, out there in Jessup, Georgia, where he's from. After going off with his friends, in which they came home and he didn't. His body was found 11 hours later after police and family members searched for him, as well as people in the community. If this is not bad enough that an 8-year-old boy has been found drowned in a pit, what's worse than that is the people that did it. His two friends who he trusted and went out, I guess, like little boys do, exploring stuff, were 10 and 11 years old, and they're in custody at current time. I want to show you this video, and we'll just come back and talk about it.
Right now, the drowning death of that 8-year-old boy, Noah Bush from Jessup, is being ruled a homicide. And according to the Wayne County Sheriff's Office, 2 children are facing charges. And listen to this, parents. They are 10 and 11 years old.
It's just very hard to accept and understand why anyone would do this, especially children. But what is more difficult to understand is why adults would participate in concealing this. And some of them maybe even walked around with the Bush family that night, pretending as if they were looking for Noah, not knowing where he was.
WJCL 22 News' AJ Sisson joining us live from the Jessup Courthouse. AJ, help us put our arms around this, because you have been reporting on the story from the very beginning, that this family's fight for justice started ever since Noah died back in May.
And Greg, it has been a tough story to cover, and ever since that night that Noah went missing, the investigation revealed that he left with kids he thought were his own friends. And now we're learning that those kids are responsible for his death.
He walked away with people he thought were friends and trustworthy. It's just very hard to accept and understand.
Answers for the family of Noah Bush, the 8-year-old found dead in a borrow pit on May 16th. Originally, no foul play was involved.
Noah and the 2 juveniles involved in this got into some argument, and an argument led to them pushing Noah into the water and possibly holding his head underwater.
The Wayne County Sheriff's Office says the 2 juveniles are 10 and 11 years old, both charged with concealing his death and criminal trespass. The 11-year-old charged with simple battery and involuntary manslaughter.
Grateful for the arrests that were made today, but we still have a long road ahead of us, because until Noah receives his justice, there will be no peace.
In a statement from Wayne County Sheriff Chuck Mosley, it says in part, the investigation continues as we await the completion of the enhancement of the videos obtained during this process. The Glenn County District Attorney Keith Higgins says that the arrests of these juveniles may not be the end.
We are disappointed that today was not the full justice that we expected. It was not the full justice that this family deserves and that this community has been organizing around and fighting for.
Days after Noah's death, Jessup held numerous protests and rallies asking for justice for Noah, because it was his mother that always knew something was not right.
She was absolutely right that this community, they knew Noah, and that these were neighbors that did this to him. These were neighbors that participated in the taking of her baby's life. And so we will continue. There's a long road ahead.
Now, I'm outside of the Jessup courthouse where since 3 o'clock those juveniles have been in court determining whether or not they will go home or they will remain detained. I'm also hearing from one of the lawyers that was on recess not too long ago that warrants for arrest for parents may be given out tonight. There's nothing certain, however, will be happening tonight, but as anything is released, I'll continue to update you on air and online at WJCL.com.
All right, guys, I want to read you this article real quick. And that picture that you see of Noah Bush, this area was where he was found in, I guess where they were playing at. But the article reads as follows. Check this out. 2 children in Georgia are arrested this week in connection with the death of an 8-year-old boy who drowned earlier this year in the Borough Pit. The juvenile defendants, ages 10 and 11, were taken into custody and charged with multiple crimes over the death of Noah Bush, authorities announced. The 11-year-old child was charged with 1 count of simple battery, involuntary manslaughter, concealing the death of another, and criminal trespass. The 10-year-old was charged with concealing the death of another and criminal trespass. Under Georgia state law, the names of the minor defendants cannot be publicly released. According to a record from Savannah, Georgia, CBS affiliate WTOC, Noah was first reported missing by his family on May 15, 2024. The search for the child reportedly lasted about 11 hours before his body was discovered inside a borrow pit at a local construction site on May 16th. A borrow pit is a hole dug in the ground to provide filling materials for construction projects. In the immediate aftermath of the boy's tragic drowning, local law enforcement authorities said that their initial investigation did not prove evidence of foul play, specifically citing to the fact that he took his shoes off and was in the water where a no trespassing sign was displayed. However, the Wayne County Sheriff's Office did emphasize that the investigators are awaiting the results of an autopsy. That report, which was provided to the Sheriff's Office on this past Monday, determined that Noah's manner of death was homicide and the cause of his death was drowning. This finding was based on the fact that one of the 2 juveniles whom were with Noah pushed him into the deep portion of a borrow pit they were wading in. The Sheriff's Office said in a news release provided to Savannah ABC affiliate WJCL, Wayne County Sheriff's Office, Robert E. Mosley confirmed to Atlanta ABC affiliate WSB that investigators believe the 11-year-old pushed Noah. Attorneys representing Noah's family reportedly confirmed that Noah knew both of the boys he was with that evening, saying the boy thought they were his friends and they were trustworthy. They indicated that the juvenile defendants may have gotten into an argument with Noah and intentionally held his head underwater. The attorneys also reportedly said that they believed that there were adults who were attempting to conceal the crime. The adults who helped to conceal the crime and obstruct the investigation, and whom instead of telling the truth became co-participants in this tragedy, need to be held accountable. We won't stop until you're held accountable for your actions. It also says the adults involved lied. Then it says Noah's family, which has reportedly led multiple demonstrations seeking justice for Noah in his 55 days since his body was discovered, echoed the sentiments of the attorneys. The whole entire tragedy has been tough on my family. I just want to say thank you so much to the community. If it weren't for you standing by my side, helping me to continue on to push for justice, we wouldn't have gotten as far as we have demonstrated for Demetrice Bush, Noah's mother, said, adding, there will be no peace until justice is served. That's the story of 8-year-old Noah Bush. May he rest in peace. And guys, I got to be honest with you, man. They're talking about, they think they held his head underwater all over an argument. These are young kids. Now, granted, you know, you want to let kids govern themselves when they're playing with each other. But I mean, you don't know the reaction of how some people act when they are not adults around. Especially, you know, him being 8 and the person that supposedly did this to him is the 11-year-old. Because if you look at the charges, it says the 11-year-old was charged with one count each of simple battery, meaning he forwarded on him, I guess, and involuntary manslaughter, concealing the death of another, and criminal trespass. They all gonna get criminal trespass because they wasn't supposed to be in there. That was a construction site or somebody's land with construction vehicles on it, and a borrow pit in which they store supplies in. I guess it had water in it. But think about that. It's a big difference between 11 years old and 8 years old. Another thing is this: at 11 years old, you know when you're killing somebody or something like that. I mean, what makes this thing bad is this, besides the parents, and I'll get to them in a second. What makes this thing bad, I'll try to stay closer to the phone. What makes this thing bad to me, the way I look at it, is they push him into the deep part. And I'm sure they knew it was a deep part. You seen he was struggling. You didn't try to help him. Now, they don't know if he was held underwater or not. You know what I'm saying? But either way, they could have rendered aid or did something. Didn't. Now, I don't know if they all could swim or couldn't swim, but if you know you couldn't swim, I wouldn't have pushed him in there. Now, these kids went home. Supposedly, the neighbors, because you seen the mom, she was hot. Supposedly, the neighbors was out there. Oh, we don't know where he at, but the kids already told. You know what I'm saying? Because 11 hours later, they find his body. And I'm sure they wouldn't have went and looked there unless somebody had told something. This whole thing, man, is like unacceptable. I mean, all the way around the board. I mean, just from a standpoint, I mean, now kids are going to go out and explore, especially boys. They can go and get into stuff. I did that. A lot of you guys did that. So them being over there, they shouldn't have been over there. But I mean, stuff like that going to always happen. You know, kids are hard-headed. But I mean, when you know you're in a strange place or a place you're not supposed to be, to have somebody that you consider a friend to do that to them and then walk off and not feel nothing, because you know you're in trouble, you just try to hide it. I mean, they still kids in mind, but at what point, you know, because it says they charging him with involuntary manslaughter. Sound like murder to me. Unless you just pushed him in that deep part and didn't know he couldn't swim, or you didn't know it was a deep part, because it said they were wading in the water, so obviously they did know. They were in that water. Either way, man, this is upsetting, man. May Noah Bush rest in peace, and his mother get the justice she deserved. But these are children. I don't know how the child laws in Georgia. This whole thing's messed up all the way around the board. I don't know if that was our only son or not, but none of this should have happened in the first place, man. I'm Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.